Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. If you missed it last night, Cowboys lose again. That's a good thing. Texans win the ball game. And then Gator men's basketball back in the O'Connell Center against FAMU this evening. You also have college football on TV to watch if you want. So a lot going on leading up. We got a lot to talk about leading up to the Ole Miss game. Today's program, we'll have Buddy Martin here in just a second. Then we'll have Mark Long from the AP. We'll talk to him about Gator football, also the Jaguars. What in the world are they going to do? Let's go to the Titan No More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. And it's the man that's the host of the Buddy Martin Show. You can listen to Buddy Monday through Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good morning, Buddy. How you doing?
Good morning, Shane. I'm doing fine. Notice I'm in a new location. I'm in Ocala, Airbnb. Thanks to all the people at Blue Heron. Doing a great job, JT, who never watches this show, doesn't know what it's about. But anyway, shout out to JT. Shane, I'm just really about 4 blocks away from the scene of the crime here in Ocala, where I went to junior high school and I practiced at the Dust Bowl, played quarterback for the Ocala Wildcats back in the day. So it's like old home week for me, Shane.
Very cool. Very cool. Mark asked, seen it. I watched the Manning cast last night. Absolutely hilarious. I did, but I saw bits and pieces of it. I was busy doing stuff. But yeah, there's no better way to watch a football game than that. You know, nobody will convince me otherwise. All right, buddy.
It's a different level for you, and I understand it. It's like, you understand the nuances. They're entertaining. Sometimes I just want my football straight. Just give it to me straight,
No, I understand. All right, buddy. You were in the swamp Saturday night against the LSU Tigers. Big win for the Gators. Is this the win that gets Billy Napier and the Gators headed in the right direction?
Shane, I keep hinting at that and talking about it because I have been somewhat positive on Billy up until 3 weeks ago when I said basically he's dead man walking. I was wrong about that. I've been wrong about a lot of things. But what he's done there, and I've changed my mind, but before this game, I picked him a couple of weeks ago, and I see things happening. I'm no oracle. I don't have no football like Shane Matthews. But what I saw a couple of weeks ago, the players they got, and what I've seen from Billy, I think, what else out there is better? I'm on board, and I'm ready to say now this was one of the 15 or 12 most important games in the swamp. Not the greatest, not biggest, but important. Because if this saves the program and they go on to win, which I think they might now, we'll look back at it and say, you know what? This is a critical game. And it's at the expense of a guy I'm so happy about, Brian Kelly. And I'm sick and tired of seeing them lose. Those LSU Tigers. So it was sweet. It was significant. It was one of the better nights in the swamp. And it might have been a turnaround game. I'm not going to say it yet, but I'm feeling it, Shane, and you are a little bit too.
Well, they've played better. There's no question about that.
Shane, they didn't just play better. They won a game that was do or die, basically. They won a game that was a get quarterback that was far better than we ever expected, who made some phenomenal throws that 98% of most healthy quarterbacks can't make. It was a significant thing. And I keep trying to tell people why it's significant. I know you hate recruiting and you don't care for it, whatever. 3 players flipped over the weekend. 3 big players flipped. So it matters when you beat LSU in the swamp on a sold-out crowd. And it was a terrific day at the swamp. Didn't get the walk-on and the walk-off and the field flooded like some people wanted, like Coach Spurrier. But it was still a significant moment in Florida football history.
Yeah, we shall see on that. Zach says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, did you see where Kiffin said the goal for the defense was to get to the next QB, referring to Aiden Warner? Seems like something you should not say at a press conference. I mean, every defense is trying to knock the quarterback out to get to the backup. I did not hear that. Doesn't surprise me. As I told you, Lane takes shots at people, just like Coach Spurrier used to. Couple
Why would that
texts.
be so surprising? Every coach wants to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess because he said it. He doesn't really care. Wolf Gator says Napier needs to continue momentum. This has been the issue with him in the past, not stacking wins, etc. Next year is playoffs or bust.
Okay.
Well,
Enjoy it for a minute, folks. Shane, you told us 3 or 4 weeks ago, stop doing this and just enjoy what you got.
no,
And if
I do. But I'm not going to read a whole lot into the LA. It was a big win. We needed to win it.
but you never read anything into it, Shane. That's your personality. I'm here to tell you before.
Yeah.
Everybody else wants to tell you about it after it happened. I'm telling you what's going on. I didn't say it was a turnaround game, but it was a significant, important game and did have a huge impact on the Gator football program. If you don't believe it, look at the recruiters, the players they flipped and recruited this weekend because of what happened. So it does matter, and it mattered a lot, and it was an important game. I'm not making it the national championship game. I'm just saying, at this juncture, like I told you last night, Shane, people say, well, it's just 1-1. If you're sitting on the desert and you're dying of thirst and you can't get a drink of water for 3 days, and someone gives you a sip of water, it's fantastic. Enjoy the sip of water, man. You got a big game win. Now, what if? I'm not going to say they're going to beat Ole Miss, but what if they do go in there and knock them off?
If they beat Ole Miss, then you can say, okay.
Well, no, I can say it now, Shane. You can wait until Ole Miss. I don't sit and wait till it happens. I
just think Ole Miss is that good, and I do.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
text on the Titan Mark text line says off-topic text, but I hear FSU is looking at Cade Bell. Any chance that would happen? I spoke with Cade last week, and he's worried about they got a lot of injuries at Pitt. Look, remember, he's a young guy. He's got if that's an opportunity, will he look at it? Possibly. But again, he could be walking into a mess because you don't know how long it's going to last. So we'll have to wait and see what
But
happens.
Shane, let me ask you a question. Didn't you not say Billy called a really good game?
I thought he did, yeah. I thought he's called a bunch of good games.
Well, so then why do people keep insisting on their so
But here's the thing, buddy. If we would have lost the game,
Yeah.
people would have asked for an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And again, we may hire an offensive coordinator. We may not. My question to the worldwide listeners on this podcast, who do you hire? Who do you convince to come here? Because it may be a 1-year deal. You don't know, right? So
Absolutely.
it's not as easy as just saying, hey, I'm going to call offensive coordinator X at this school and offer him the job. It's not a guaranteed deal. So I thought Billy did call it a
same reason on the head coach situation in that regard. I mean, how do you know what you're going to get? You want to go get Brian Kelly? Okay, go get Brian Kelly.
Mark says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, beating LSU is not a benchmark for success in the SEC. Beat Ole Miss and you've proved something.
Oh, come on. I'm tired of hearing that. You got a huge win, man. You better enjoy it, you know? Got a sip of water. You're dying of thirst. Take what you got. Now what you got is you got a good chance of you getting your bowl game in, maybe going 7-6, all things that look, Shane, and you said so, like they were impossible 3 weeks ago.
Buddy, people are all over you here. This text from
I don't care.
252 says,
I can handle it. I got big shoulders.
He says, we beat an average team that's reeling at home. We're
Yeah,
still 51st in recruiting.
Whining. Stop whining. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the win. Well, man.
All right, here's a good question from Johnny in Lake City. He says, Shane, why is Lagway struggling with the short to intermediate passes but can hit receivers in stride on the long pass? Is it just a lack of experience, or do you think he'll get better at them?
Good question.
Yeah, I mentioned this a lot. Look, there's possibility that he could get better at it. I've said multiple times throwing the ball deep is what, buddy? Let's see if you've been paying attention for the last 3 years.
You have to do it. You told me you got to do it like.
Well, you got to do it, but it's the easiest throw, and it's the safest throw, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about balls getting knocked down. You don't have to find passing lanes. You don't have to worry about looking here, and then a backside defender, when you turn your head, your vision is obstructed and you throw it right to them. There's a lot of crap that can happen in
Yeah.
the short game and intermediate game.
Yeah, but Shane, I want you to speak again on that touchdown pass he threw. I mean, that was one of the best throws I've ever seen by a foreign quarterback.
Yeah, he made some really good throws the other night. But back to the text here, he can get better with that. I just think the speed of the game for all that stuff right now, he probably hasn't got caught up to it. He hasn't played enough. But like I said, the easiest and safest throws are down the field, and he does that very well. Keep calling him. Barone says, a real OC. Okay, Barone, again, like I said, tell me who that real, I need names, Barone,
Yeah, come on.
would
Stop
allow
saying
Napier
real
to
OC.
focus
How do
on
you
being
know
a
this,
head coach on
bro?
game day
You know
rather
more
than
than
be,
Shane? You don't know about a real OC.
rather than being a head coach, OC, and QB coach. He's not the QB coach, especially consider he's not proven to be a good head coach or OC. Well, we'll see how all that plays out when it
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
said and done. All right. We got this is from Jonathan on the Titan MR text line in Memphis. He says, buddy, you never thought the softball team was elite. Do you think the Gator football team now is elite because they beat LSU?
I never used the word elite. You're trying to put words in my mouth. And I was wrong about the softball team. And I said that. I'm not using the word elite. I'm talking about a major milestone. Milestone, not necessarily like winning a SEC. Getting over the hump sometimes is the hardest part. You've been on teams like this, Shane, you know. This is a big game. I'm not declaring it as a national championship. It saved the program, probably, okay? Is that significant? I think so.
All right, Barone, throw some names out. Brennan Marion from UNLV, Cade Bell from Pitt, Shannon Dawson from Miami. Okay. You have no chance of getting Shannon Dawson from Miami. Why would he leave from Miami and come to Florida? You know, again, I think people need to remember it's going to be hard to convince a coach to come here for possibly 1 year, but it could be for a lot of years. Russ says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, I'm concerned that Ole Miss will try to hurt Lagway. Hope the line plays it. I don't know if they'll do it. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that at all. Mike says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, when we beat Ole Miss and knocked them out of the playoffs, then they will say the same thing about that win. I agree with y'all. Enjoy the win. Now, if you beat Ole Miss, in my opinion, Ole Miss is the best team in the SEC. They're the most complete team that I've seen this year.
I would agree with that. Yes, Georgia when they were humming, maybe, but you're right. I think they are.
I think Georgia's got a lot of holes. They're still very, very good, but I just think Ole Miss offensively and defense is.
I said the Georgia team we
good.
saw earlier, not necessarily the Georgia team we're seeing now. And we don't really know how good yet Texas and Texas A&M are. I'm not all that impressed with Texas. A&M's got some players. They're playing pretty good. So I don't know.
Texas has some dudes though, buddy. They got dudes.
Okay, well, and they might look great, but they haven't looked great every game, that's for sure.
Yeah. Florida victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators, joined today to help make Florida victorious. We got Buddy Martin on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, coming to you live from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll have Mark Long from the AP Associated Press shortly.
Hey, you heard about the time of the FSU game?
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock or 7:30, unfortunately.
7:30 night game.
I'm not happy about that at all. Because I wanted to watch the A&M Texas game.
Got to flip around.
What's that?
You have to flip around a little bit to do that.
Well, I'll be in the box. We don't have multiple TVs.
So you can't, but we have.
Yeah. Joseph says Ole Miss is really good, but his dog Lane is due for a choke at any moment. Yeah, I think Ole Miss, a lot of times you don't want to play a team after they're coming off a bye, but Ole Miss was playing so well, they probably wish they didn't have that bye. Now, they get probably the best receiver that we have faced all year, for sure. Trey Harris coming back, and their starting running back will be back. So we'll see. It's going to be a great test. Should be a fun atmosphere for sure. Uh, Text here on the Titan Mar text line. Shane, do you think that this past game slowed down DJ's healing process? No way he's at 100%. I just worry that may have slowed him down and might injure this again. Do you think by coming back early, any chances he increases? Well, I don't think the way he played, he didn't make any subtle quick burst or take off running. He was very good in the pocket. Uh, no, I mean, look, if he can play like that this week, we'll be all right.
Billy said he told him, I didn't play last week. I'm playing this week. You couldn't have kept him off that field.
Yeah, I agree with that. So here's a text from 941. That's Chris in Mayaca. You know where Mayaca is, buddy?
Yeah, kind of. I used to live down in 941.
He says, I know it's going to be difficult to get a quality OC with Billy's future uncertain. I know this is not likely, but would you consider an OC job? No. No, I love football. I love scheming. I love drawing up plays. That's the chess game. I love all that. But philosophy wise, it probably would not work.
Who's the best you ever seen besides Coach Spurrier?
There's nobody that compares to him.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, because what people don't realize, his system was so complex, but so damn simple. And the way he taught it made it so simple that everybody knew what to do. And we didn't try to bang our heads against the wall trying to block this front. If they gave us this front, we didn't run that play. We made it, that's what a lot of coaches, they want to have an answer for every freaking thing. There's no reason to, right?
Yeah.
Football is not hard.
Put them over here, right over there.
Our philosophy was throw it where they ain't, right?
Yeah.
Find where the weakness is, where the opening area is, and throw the ball there.
And Shane, that's exactly what he did as a player when he won the Miller Digby Trophy in the Sugar Bowl game, when they went for three times and make it against Missouri. He came out there and his offensive coordinator didn't see what he saw. He saw a whole bunch of people on that side, and they kept trying to run to the wrong side. Finally, he said, let's throw it over there where ain't nobody. And he had 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter, just because he shifted it. Like you said, it's not that hard. Throw it where they ain't. That's what he did, and that's what you guys did, and you've done it well. I will say this, though, so that the way he calls plays, you're right. There's nobody quite like him. Others have tried to imitate him, including Lane Kiffin. He's so smart how he sets plays up.
Mm-hmm.
Gives his quarterback a lot of, as you know, Shane, I've asked you a bunch of times, how come you're so successful? Let the quarterback make the call at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Yeah, he taught us well, for sure. Somebody on here, I think it was Don, they wish that Coach Spurrier would be more involved. Look, here's the thing. Now, I've said this multiple times on this program. Coach Spurrier can go in, everybody has the same plays. It's not like he's got any secret plays folded up in his back pocket. There's not a play. People design new plays. Like Sarkisian put in a play that I've never seen, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs ended up running it the other day. But it's how you teach it and when you call it. That's the key, right? Play calling is about timing. When do you call the right play? And that's why so many people have been upset with Billy Napier over the years when he would call like the double pass or a reverse, which
wrong time.
I had no problem with it because that's how the guy I played for taught it, and that's how he called it. Billy was always snake bit because the damn play never worked. But if it works, you look brilliant. If it doesn't, you're a dumbass.
Exactly.
Yeah. Josh from Mississippi says on the Titan Mar text line, if we use the same game plan on defense, bend but don't break, do we keep it close with Ole Miss? I think that's the only thing, our only chance. We cannot play them man to man. We have to play zone and keep the ball in front. If we play them man to man, we will get blown out of the building.
Defense? Is that the creeper?
No, we played just a basic for the majority of the game. We just kept the ball in front of us. Our front four got after them now. Yeah. They're going to have to rush the passer very well against Jackson Dart. But they're such a good running team too, man. That's why I think they're the most complete team, because they lead the league in passing And I don't know where they rank in running, but they are a really good running team. So
Did they
it's
get
going to
one
be
of
a challenge. Be a really good challenge. Should be a lot of fun for sure. All right. There was something I wanted to bring up for you.
While you're waiting, can I just bring up the fact I know no one wants to talk about Coach Spurrier's decision of wanting to go on the field after the game. Everybody laughed at him and thought it was dumb. But you know what? It had an
I did
impact.
too.
Yeah. Did you see what Billy said?
Yeah, I did. I even told Coach, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Well,
He just wants, here's what Coach, in his older age, I think he wants the fans of the Gators to have fun, right?
Get involved.
Everybody else around the country storms the field. And then there's the fans that say, we're Florida, we don't do that. Well, I don't see any problem with it. Now, I would have had a problem storming the field for beating a 6-4 team. But if you want to storm the field when you upset #1 Florida State back in '97 or whatever, yes. You want to storm the field, that I think those are the times you do it. But a lot of our fans say we're too good for that.
Well, let me challenge that statement just a little bit, okay? I want to say I don't disagree with you totally. But do you think that Coach Spurrier's announcement that he wanted people to swarm the swamp, not storm it, swarm it, and go on the field, don't destroy things, and show the allegiance, do you think it had any impact whatsoever on the game?
No.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what Billy said. So
I know what Billy said.
Let me read to the people, let them make a judgment. Our players got wind of that, said Napier. They were talking about it earlier today. I think it juiced them up a little bit. That's the coach talking now. Anytime head ball coach speaks, we listen. This is his place. Player coach, Gator legend. I'm thankful for Coach. Coach has been phenomenal since the first day I got here. So yeah, I'd say he says it had an impact.
There, as a player,
The coach.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying as a athlete, what concerns me is that if we have to have that said on Twitter or whatever to get us ready to play, there's a problem.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
They've
I don't care. I don't
play for 3 years. They've had a problem, and now they're finally starting to get. Now, I'm not saying it did or didn't. I'm telling you what the coach said.
No, I know what Billy said. I heard it in his press conference, and Billy is very good speaking in the public. I will tell you that. And maybe the players loved it. My question is, that should not have any bearing on whether you want to really play and win a football game or not. That's where I'm going.
I know what you're saying, but you're talking like a coach. It does have an impact on it.
I'm not talking like a coach. I'm talking like a player.
You're talking like a coach. You're talking like coach speak, Shane.
No. Because here's what I always said, buddy, my entire life. Football is a strange sport. You work your ass off about 320 days a year, right? It's training nonstop to put the uniform on at least 12 times. Think about that. Baseball and basketball, you play a ton of games. So it's a problem to me that the kids do not understand. And this has nothing to do with coach. We used to talk about this as players. You're only going to put this uniform on for 12 times this year. If the Gators beat Florida State or Ole Miss, they're going to get a 13th time. But nobody will ever change my mind on that about that.
If that was that matter of fact, no one would ever worry about upsets or whatever.
Well, no, you still got to go out and execute. I
know, exactly. It doesn't matter. The little things that go into that do matter. You got to make the fan base think they're involved. Give them some voice in the thing. Why do you have cheering and booing? It does have an impact on it. These coaches who say things like you just said, well, you need that. Yeah, they need it. They're kids.
Right. But my point is, when people say, let's say against A&M or Miami, Billy didn't have them ready to play. Why? Because they got their butts beat. That doesn't mean they weren't ready to play. It may say the other team.
Did you think they were ready to play, Shane?
Right?
Did you think they were ready to play against Miami? Did you?
They ran out of the tunnel just like they did the
Yeah, but
Saturday
they
against
weren't ready.
LSU.
They weren't ready. You know that.
I know. I think they were ready to play. I just think they probably didn't have a good plan.
Why did Nick Saban make a comment he made about how he thought Billy, why he was impressed? Because he had his players ready to play.
Okay, well, Nick
Said
Saban has
that.
to say that about his former assistants. What is he going to say? Billy's a terrible coach?
He didn't say anything. He had nothing. He was
So my question to you then, by having said that, buddy, when a team loses, that means their coach didn't have them ready to play.
oh, not always, but sometimes teams are not ready to play.
Okay. Well, that's my point. My point is you only play 12 times. You
But
got
that's
to
not
be
the
ready
real
to
world,
play
Shane.
every time.
That's not the real world. You can't get up 12 times a year. No
You
team.
can in the SEC. You can't. You may not get up against the Furmans and the Charleston Southerns, but anyway, um, we'll agree to disagree on that.
All right. I'm okay with that.
John says, "How about Tebow's speech after the Ole Miss game in '08? Did that have any effect on the team positively?"
Good
Well,
point.
yeah, but they
Good
also
point.
had
Great point,
they
John.
also were a tremendous football team. I mean, we're talking about what, about 15 dudes that played on Sundays on that team?
But they lost because they couldn't make a first down on 4th and 1.
Well, they got stuff, but does that mean they weren't ready to play? No, Ole Miss just whipped their
He
butt
didn't
on that
say
play.
that. He didn't ask you that question. He
Well,
said, did it have any impact on the game?
yeah. Anyway, all right, buddy, who you got on your program tonight?
Well, Lauren's going to have Rob Brown and a former Gator is coming back. I have to keep on the down low. You want to hear from him tonight on the program. Good show, 9 o'clock here. Always tune it in. We'll be back on tomorrow night with Alec Peak Wilbur and our team. And enjoyed having you on last night, Shane. We had one of the biggest crowds of the year with you on last night.
Well, I don't know if it had anything to do with me. I think, when people win, you get a lot of people when you win a game, and you get a lot of people when you don't win a game.
Yeah, but Shane, last night our team was ready.
Yeah.
At the show.
Buddy, real quick, I got to ask you this one. This day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 1978, the Miracle at the Meadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
Remember what that was?
That's a fumble by Pasarchik, right?
Yep. Herm Edwards picks up the fumble because they didn't do damn victory like a bunch of dummies.
Yeah.
They ran a play, fumbled the ball, and Philadelphia wins 1917 over the Giants.
Saw that game. I wasn't at it, but I was in New York. I saw that. I could not believe it.
Yeah, pretty bizarre.
Talk about a bizarre play. Yeah, reversal of fortune. So, Shane, are you excited about the game on Saturday?
I am. Look, this I can't wait to go.
It's your state, Shane.
It's my school. It is my two schools going at it, and I wish it wasn't at noon because I got a lot of people coming, and it's just going to be a chaotic week. And I'm hoping and I'm praying next year when we go to Oxford, it's at least a 3:30 game. It better not be a damn 11 a.m. game because I want to go to the Grove and do all of that.
All right, hold it.
Nothing like it.
Thank you. Are you hearing what Shane's saying here? Please make him happy. Give him 3:30 next year.
Yes, or give Lane his night game that they didn't. They don't. They're not going to play one night game this year. Is that crazy?
That's crazy, and some teams aren't playing ranked teams either. By the way.
Yeah. So anyway, should be great. I'm trying to figure. I'm waiting to see for them. Well, I guess I don't know if they release what they're going to wear. I'm a huge Ole Miss uniform guy because
I know you are. They got pretty uniforms.
I want them to wear like the old, like the gray pants, the white jersey, and either the powder blue helmet or the navy helmet. That's the real Ole Miss.
Shane, I got an Ole Miss hat from like 30 years ago. I have to find it, give it to you.
Well, I got plenty. See my dad's old helmet here?
Oh yeah.
Look at the inside of that thing, buddy.
I know. It's like I played in Riddell.
Yeah. So
so
should be a good one. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be. Shane, have a great week, and it's gonna be fun at the Swamp again on Saturday. And your old team, I don't wish your team too much luck, Shane. I'm sorry.
Well, I want them to lose, and I think like I said, I think they're the best team in the league. So we beat them. We're heading in the right direction.
I agree with that. All right.
All right, buddy. Have a good show. We'll talk to you next week, my man. Kanye Ron says he will serve as our guide, and Well, I'll guide you around there. I grew up going to that place my whole life. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we will be joined by Mark Long from the AP, talk a little Gators and Jaguars in the National Football League. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. The Gridiron sponsors are Florida Cracker Kitchen, Comfort Temp, Peachland Dental, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Cogent Bank, UF Bookstores, Florida Victorious, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Electronics World, Miapa Latin Cafe, 84 Lumber, Baker Sporting Goods, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, and Gator Bait Media. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever you're on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor and advertise, call our man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
After serving over 100 families over the past several years, we're super excited to kick off the holiday season. I'm Dylan, I'm Garrett, and we're Sunshine Holiday Lights. We all know how stressful it can be to decorate your home during the holidays. Our services include installation of all material, maintenance, takedown, and storage of the material throughout the year. If you want to spend more time with your family this year, give Sunshine Holiday Lights a call.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. We're going to go back to the Titan MRI hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Mark Long from the AP joining us here on the Titan MRI hotline. What's up, my man?
Hey, how you doing, Shane?
I'm good. Let's start first because I know you covered the Jags, but let's start with the Gators. Big win. Is this the win that gets Billy and the program headed in the right direction, in your opinion?
I mean, you hope so, right? I think there's a bigger win awaiting them, and I'm not talking about this week, but I just point already to next year. We know he's here, safe for 2025. They're going to go into Miami in week 2, I believe, of next year. That's really where he can turn this thing. Is it turned a little bit, right? Certain aspects of it seem like it's turned. I think, you could probably say that he's treading water, right? But in terms of really swimming and making some leaps and bounds, it's going to come next year, early in the season with that game at Miami. Can he go down there? Cam Ward will be gone. Can they go down there and win a game on the road against a rival in a hostile environment? And that, I think, would be a turning point for this program. Right now, this would do it. I think beating Ole Miss at home, that would really do it, 4 in a row. And then you go to what should be, it still is a reeling FSU program. But I don't think that I think the LSU one was good. I think what they did was they caught LSU, right? LSU's season was over, back-to-back losses. They obviously have some angst going on inside the program. Doesn't look like Brian Kelly's the perfect fit. and they caught them. And really, probably when you look at the numbers, they stole one a little bit.
Yeah, LSU's got some problems. You hear about, the way Brian Kelly treats the players, all kinds of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how they finish the season. I think they got Vanderbilt this week and then maybe Oklahoma to end the
I think
season.
that's right.
Good gracious, it could go bad for the Tigers. Here's a funny, where did it go? It was pretty funny here. Oh, Justin wants to know on YouTube, Mark, after Saturday's win, do you still think you'll be around here much longer than Billy?
Hey, listen, I just pointed. If Billy wins that Miami game next year, who knows? I think at that point would be he might get a contract extension. Yeah, I mean he certainly has them on the right track. They're looking better. You cannot underplay what Billy Napier has done with this team this season in terms of taking them from 1-2 and looking like they're dead in the water after those two blowout losses, and keeping them together and intact and playing hard every single week and coming up with some big wins. Obviously, the Texas game was a little bit of a gut punch and probably exposed a lot of weaknesses, but they bounced back. And that's really what you want from any team, is to bounce back from a loss and not let one loss turn into two. And that easily could have happened when you lose like that to Texas.
Yeah. Mark, I wanted to ask you because, a lot of the talk around town and around the nation is with Billy coming back next year, he's going to be, I don't want to say forced, but to hire an offensive coordinator. Now, he called a pretty good game the other day, not a perfect game, but do you think that's going to happen? And if it does happen, most OCs want to bring in some of their guys to help run their system, whether it's O-line, wide receiver, running back coach, whatever. Is that all a possibility?
Yeah, I think it's all up in the air. I wouldn't be stunned if we see another significant assistant coaching. I know, you get those 10 assistant coaches. I would think that in that 10, he could have some pretty significant changes. I wouldn't be shocked if, defensive coordinator. I wouldn't be shocked. Obviously, we've already heard that, they're intent on hiring an OC. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something different on the O-line, even though they've played well most of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a change there. There's just a lot of places where you could see them tweaking. Even special teams. I think Joe Houston's done a good job, but do you maybe some of those guys you kept, Chris Couch, you kept him even though you layered that position. You kept Austin Armstrong when you brought in Ron Roberts. Do you keep that scenario, or do you get rid of one of those layerings? You layered strength and conditioning. You kept Mark Hockey. I would think all those guys who got layered this year will be shown the door next year.
Yeah, I wish they would decrease all those people in the building. I just think it's way too many people. Just your thoughts on DJ. I mean, you've seen a lot of, we all know he's a special talent. I tell everybody he's going to get better. Just God blessed him with a lot of stuff that you can't teach.
Yeah. Yeah, he's unbelievable. And he's growing. He's learning. And that's, I think, the way you got to look at this is we've seen a lot of highly touted freshmen walk in the door. Chris Leak, certainly Tim Tebow. Just because you're highly touted doesn't mean it's going to go well in that first year. But for him, it's going well. It's going about as well as you could expect. I mean, he's unbelievable. Stepping up, pocket awareness, stepping up, avoiding rush, delivering the ball on the run into tight spaces. That stuff, like you said, you can't teach that. And it's just God-given ability and unbelievable talent. And we haven't seen, I think there's another level of him in terms of running the ball and his ability to make things happen outside the pocket. And we haven't really seen that, especially since the injury to Georgia.
Yeah, I think as you said, all the physical stuff, everybody's seeing that right now. The thing that's impressed me the most is just his maturity, how he handles himself at press conferences. He's got a really high football IQ, and I think that goes a long way. So he's only going to get better, and it will be fun to watch. Florida Crackers, the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida, floridacracker.com. All right, Mark, let's switch gears to the National Football League. You cover the Jags. 31M Burr on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, when will Doug get fired?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be yesterday. I really thought that when you lose 52-6 in a league that's built for a lot of parity and built to everybody to basically go 9-8 or 8-9, right? When you lose 52-6, I don't care if it's on the road, I don't care if it's against a Super Bowl champion. You do that in year one of a rebuild, fine. You do that as an expansion team, fine. You can't go doing that in the third year of a staff, even with a backup quarterback. It just doesn't sit right. There's something wrong there. It was 52-6, and it could have been 70-6. That's how bad it was. I mean, it was pick your score. It was like the Florida Gators in their heyday playing, Steve Spurrier playing Vanderbilt or Kentucky. That's what it looked like. And, that's a talent issue. This one, you got to wonder, was that a talent issue? If that's a talent issue, they got really big problems. If it's players have kind of given up on the staff, then you know how to fix that.
Text on the Titan MR text line from Robert in Fort Myers. Are the Jags really going after Belichick? And your thoughts if they really are?
Oh, I would be surprised. I really would. I just don't know that he's the answer. At his age, he wants to win. He wants to win now. He wants to get that record, the coaching record, the wins record. And I don't know that you do that by coming to Jacksonville. Maybe, but I just don't. I think that even if he was the answer, are you going to give him personnel moves? I think personnel control, that's where he really struggled in New England, was handling personnel. Is he going to come and want to just be the head coach? Okay, maybe, but they got GM problems in Jacksonville. So I don't know how that would work. I just don't see it being a fit, and it certainly wouldn't be a long-term fix. That's what they need. They need some stability. Shad Khan's owned this thing 13 years. He's owned this team for 13 years. And if he fires Doug, his next coach will be a sixth. 6 in 14 years. That is a stunning level of inconsistency and instability that you just can't have. You look at some of the best teams in the league, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Seattle before this year. There's longevity, there's stability there. You have an identity. You draft to the identity, you coach to the identity. Jacksonville has no identity right now.
If you were the president or you owned the Jaguars, would you clean house, general manager and head coach, or would you keep one of them? What would Mark Long do?
I am always prone to overreaction, right? So and the fire everybody mentality, it's a fan mentality, right? Fire everybody, clean house, start over. But in this case, I like what Doug Peterson has done. I don't think he's quite developed Trevor Lawrence the way he should, but I'd give him one more year. And what I would do is I would clean out that front office. I think that's one of their issues, is that front office. They just haven't been good enough in the draft, especially second and third rounds. They've hit on some first rounders, but second and third round, they haven't found a guy at all in the later rounds. So this free agent class was one of the worst in franchise history. I mean, they just paid a lot of aging veterans. You don't do that. The league's all about getting younger and getting faster and healthier and all that. And you go signing 30-year-olds to big contracts. All you're doing is making yourself older, slower. So I would clean house in that regard. I don't know. I would get rid of Trent Baalke and see if another GM can come in and give Doug 1 year with a new GM. And then if it doesn't work out, the new GM gets to pick his head coach next year.
Why, I've never understood this, and I know I'm in the minority because everybody thinks being a head coach and calling plays is so damn difficult. However, there's a bunch of people that do it. Why does he not call the plays anymore? I mean, that's why he got the head job, at the Jaguars.
And it is a point of contention because the owner is on record saying he wants Doug to call plays. He thinks that's one of Doug's expertise, does it better than most people in the league. And Doug's got this loyalty to his offensive coordinator, Press Taylor. He's been with him a long time. He's watched him grow through the ranks in Philadelphia, now in Jacksonville. And I think he was trying to give him more. And he does not. Doug looks at this and he goes, this is not a play calling issue. We're not calling bad plays. We have players not doing what they practice to do. We have quarterbacks changing plays at the line of scrimmage and not everybody getting the new play. There's a lot of weird things going on that he's like, what am I doing here? We've tried. Clearly we need to coach better. But Doug's thing is, this is not a play calling. He doesn't think it's a play calling issue. And we'll see if the owner agrees. I think if you fire Doug, you're probably saying, listen, he didn't do what I wanted him to do, which was call plays.
Interesting. All right, back to well, not really back to college ball, but somebody on Facebook Live brought you by Mel Law. It went away, but I wrote it down here. They wanted you to compare Anthony Richardson and DJ Lagway.
There's no comparison.
No.
And you and I both talked to people in the building, people who've worked with both of them, and night and day. And actually, they take offense if you even compare those two quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, in his third year in college football and his first year with Billy Napier, was nowhere close to where DJ Lagway is as a freshman. He just, whatever happened, the playbook was shrunk down. The plays were shrunk down. There was very little they could do with Anthony Richardson because of his experience, because of his comfortability in a new offense, all those things. It was a really, really simple game plan, very easy for good defensive coordinators to kind of figure it out. This is different. DJ Lagway's got the entire playbook at his disposal. They can throw anything at him. They can tweak things during the week, changes protections at the line of scrimmage. This guy is legit different. And I think this, Shane, I think he's going to start the year next year as one of the Heisman Trophy favorites. I think it'll probably be Jalen Milroe, but he'll be in the mix next year, starting the year with that kind of expectation.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right, who do you think is the best team in the National Football League right now?
Oh, Detroit, and I don't think it's even close. And it has nothing to do with what I watched Sunday, which was a complete beatdown. I just think they are complete. If they had Aiden Hutchinson, they'd be even scarier. But they're good enough at every level on defense. They're good enough at every position on offense to, I think, run the table here and win it all. And I love the Chiefs. I love the Chiefs defense, but something looks off with the Chiefs, right? I love the Bills. The Bills are, I think, Bills, Chiefs in the AFC. Certainly, Houston's maybe a little bit of a dark horse. But when you look at the NFC, I think it's Detroit and then everybody else.
Yeah. What I love about the Lions, they have a lot of former players that are on that staff. Brunell, Aaron Glenn, the head coach, Dan Campbell, and I'm sure there's other ones, but it's kind of cool how they handle their business, and people love playing for Dan Campbell. You can tell. So anyway, all right.
And if you're the Jags and you're going to make a move on Doug Peterson,
Ben Johnson,
you better make sure Brunell's your back. Like, that's your guy. You got a connection to Brunell because he's in the Ring of Honor at the Jags. You make sure Brunell and Ben Johnson are going to come to Jacksonville and fix the Jags. And if that's a possibility, like not a remote possibility, if that's a strong possibility, I think then you pull the trigger on Doug Peterson.
Yeah, because I think Ben Johnson is phenomenal. He's so good.
He's got some Spurrier in him, right? Running the score up, trick plays, and he's like, they're using trick plays in 20 and 30-point wins, and people are like questioning. He's like, oh, we got so many more trick plays, it doesn't matter. We'll use 1, 2, 3. We can use whatever we want. We've got plenty to pick from.
Andy's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. What team in the NFL has surprised you the most this year for their success?
Ooh, that's a good one. Minnesota, because you thought Sam Darnold, you thought they were dead in the water, right? We've seen Sam Darnold, and so they've been the biggest surprise. I think the biggest disappointment's got to be Jacksonville's got to be right in there. This was a team that everybody thought was built to at least, win 9 or 10 games or 11 games. And, so far short of expectations. Everybody in that building has been a disappointment. So those two surprising, good side, bad side.
All right, last one. Bob on the Titan MR text line wants to know, Mark, can the Gators beat the Ole Miss Rebels this weekend?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll say this, Jackson Dart, for as much praise as he's got 22 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. Well, 15 of those came against Furman, Arkansas, and Georgia Southern. So I think he's 7-3 against everybody else. 7 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. He's been fairly pedestrian in the higher level SEC games. He obviously dominated Arkansas. I think he had 5 touchdown passes in that game. But Georgia, Oklahoma, Kentucky, very pedestrian. They're going to score their points, but in the swamp, with a couple of things going right for the Gators, if they really, really do get after him on defense, win special teams, DJ Lagway hits a couple big plays over the top, all of a sudden that game could be absolutely a big Florida win.
Yeah, they're going to have to play their best game of the year. I think personally, I think Ole Miss is the most complete team in the league. I know they've played some cupcakes, but I just think they got a lot of good players.
They do. A lot of seniors. That's the big difference. If you look up and down,
this is their year.
Yeah, they've got seniors everywhere. I think 3 senior receivers, obviously a senior quarterback. Princely Umalan is playing well. The other end, Perkins, is a senior as well, I believe. So they just got talent loaded and senior talent, which makes a difference on the road. So that's the one thing. You don't think they're going to come in here and get shook or shaken or whatever. I really feel like they'll be able to come in and they're not going to be like your normal, run-of-the-mill quarterback making his first start in the swamp.
All right, Brian, last thing. I keep saying it. It's the last one here. Facebook Live. Mark, does the alligator story on Todd Golden have credibility to you? Hearing different opinions about the legitimacy of the story, but there's some pretty devastating quotes in it.
Yeah, we don't use quotes from anonymous. If you don't put your name on it, you don't get to. You can tell a story, but we're not necessarily going to use quotes from that, especially quotes like that. Some really damning quotes. So there's that. Naming the 2 assistants was over the top, and I've heard differing stories on them considering a legal pursuit for defamation or whatever. So I don't know. There's some. I had some issues with it, but they clearly talked to women who had whether it's an axe to grind or scorned in some way or had it out for Todd Golden. There's still, you got to wonder, is there some truth in there? Usually the truth is somewhere in between, right? From what you're hearing from the Florida side and what you're hearing from the allegation side, usually something in the middle. That's where I tend to fall with these things but it all comes down to what can you prove, right? And it doesn't sound like, there's a lot of proof out there against Todd Golden that people have seen.
Appreciate your time. Let everybody know how they can listen to you and Edgar's podcast.
Yeah, Edgar and I are available. Swamp Things Podcast. Just find it I think it's in Apple and Spotify. You can find Swamp Things Podcast. Edgar and I twice a week.
Good stuff. Appreciate your time, Mark.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, we'll see you in the press box. That's Mark Long from the AP. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town. All right, before we get out of here, Rob, you can click off, Mark. I'm going to answer some of these.
I'm trying.
questions.
I had to look for the button.
Yeah. Rob says, get ready, folks. If UF wins, Shane, this is the most overrated Ole Miss team in my lifetime. Rob, you're completely clueless. Just because I told you that I thought Kentucky was not very good, I told you UCF was not very good. Their records speak for that, Rob. I do not think this LSU team was great, and you will see that the rest of the year. I mean, they've lost 3 or 4 in a row. It was a great win for the Gators. I have said multiple times, go back and watch. We appreciate you going back and listening to these shows. I have said multiple times that I think Ole Miss is the best team in the Southeastern Conference. If we beat them, it'll be a tremendous win. There is no overrating Ole Miss. They're freaking good. And if you don't think that, you have not watched them play. Does not mean Florida can't beat them. So just because I say somebody is not very good, it's because my eyes tell me that. I just don't make it up because we beat them. If you think Kentucky's any good and you think UCF is any good, I don't think Tennessee's very good. And I said it. So that's my opinion. You have your opinion. When you have your show, we'll be happy to listen to it. So there you have it. James says I am too negative. I don't know where I'm negative. I predicted this team to win 8 games, people. Go back and listen to the damn show. We're not going to win 8. For sprains, strains, and minor fractures, UF Health Ortho Care makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. What I like to do is I'm a diehard Gator. I try to shoot people straight how I feel about certain things, right? Okay. Am I going to sit here and be a sunshine pumper? No, you will never get that on that program. If you want that, go listen to other ones. You ain't getting that here, people. So I'm pulling for the Gators to win Saturday. Do I think they're going to win? No. Can I be wrong? Yes. But just because I think Ole Miss is better than we are, I'm not being negative. I'm telling you what I see when I watch football. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed today's program. We appreciate everybody chiming in, and we'll be here tomorrow, folks. Take care.